Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a deeply philosophical and honestly kind of mind-bending mythic text. It's a fascinating look at holy power. But actually, scratch that. It's not about triumphant victory at all. Instead, it's entirely about angels questioning their duty. We're looking at the dangerous, almost magnetic allure of the fallen path. Okay, let's dive into this and unpack exactly why a being made of pure light would ever look down at the abyss and think, you know what, I should step into that. Right out of the gate, the text hooks us with this central, unasked question. It's a question that echoed through the entire celestial hierarchy. Just think about this premise for a second. Humans suffer, right? They make mistakes, they repent, and they become deeper, more complex beings because of that sorrow. Angels, on the other hand, are perfectly aligned. They don't have that struggle. So the question that started spreading like a crack across a crystal gate was this. If a fallen angel knew grief from the inside out, could they understand broken souls better than a guardian who had never ever lost the light? It completely challenges the very nature of obedience. So here is our roadmap for breaking down this dense celestial lore today. We're going to map out the 6 stages of angelic doubt as a path toward potential failure. We'll cover the burden of compassion, virtues twisted into traps, the demonic crowns, the mirror of truth, holy logic and harmony, and finally, the discipline of remaining. Let's see exactly how a holy virtue can become a terrible trap. Starting off with stage 1, the burden of compassion. This is where victory first brings doubt. A core paradox of this text is that the first angels who felt the pull toward falling didn't actually hate holiness. That's a huge misconception. The truth is, they loved mercy way too fiercely. They looked at themselves as volunteers for a harsher mercy. They saw human suffering, a mother mourning, a village burning down, and they genuinely wondered why holy power waited for permission to intervene. They thought if they could just touch the darkness directly, they could drag those lost souls back themselves. Which leads us right into stage 2, virtues twisted into traps. This is where nobility literally becomes a prison. Let's ground all this abstract philosophy in the deeply personal, internal conflicts of some specific angels. First up, we have Kalian of the Open Wing. Kalian guarded crossroads and thresholds. He actually admired humans because they were unfinished. They changed through taking risks. Now, contrast Kalian's intense yearning for absolute freedom with the rigid, unwavering nature of his luminous celestial duty. He desperately wanted to know if love chosen from a place of messy confusion and risk burns hotter than love that's just sung from perfect, safe alignment. Imagine being Kalian. You're standing at the absolute edge of the ladder of light, looking down at the earth, and this exact thought is just burning in your mind. If I never risk darkness, do I truly understand the souls I guard? It's such a powerful, agonizing internal monologue. He didn't want corruption. He just wanted a little distance from absolute certainty. But, and here's the catch, it highlights this incredibly dangerous assumption he's making, the idea that true freedom somehow requires you to break yourself first. Let's move over to Maratha and see how this struggle builds. Maratha belonged to the 6th Watch, guarding dreams and the hour right before despair sets in. Her duty was to comfort human grief, to keep sorrow from turning into total surrender. But contrast her genuine, beautiful mercy against her growing, impatient desire for total control. She was just exhausted by the sheer volume of pain she saw every day. She didn't want to merely comfort people anymore. She wanted to forcefully cut away all their pain before it even happened. Put yourself in Maratha's shoes for a minute. Her specific temptation was totally born of empathy, but it mutated into this terrifying thought, I must silence their grief, not just comfort it. If I can just cut away the memory of every single betrayal, they will finally be at peace. But listen, a peace enforced by erasing memory isn't healing at all. It's control. It's literally the oldest shape of theft, stripping humans of the very experiences that allow them to develop courage and true compassion in the first place. And this is exactly where the darkness steps in, offering stage 3, the demonic crowns, disguising captivity as liberation. So, how does darkness actually recruit the almost righteous? It's brilliant, really. It polishes lies until they perfectly resemble virtues. Let's break down how these demonic crowns operate, because it is terrifyingly subtle. Take Halion. The crown of the unbounded road whispers to him that all guidance is just manipulation in disguise. Then you have Maratha. Her crown of painless mercy claims that true healing requires completely erasing memory. For Ravael, the crown of sacred rot disguises pure, decaying corruption as deep, meaningful transformation. And for the warrior Orion, the crown of final victory promises peace, but through absolute conquest without a shred of consent. The crucial takeaway here is that demonic crowns don't invent new sins. They just isolate a single noble truth, like freedom or victory, and sharpen it into an absolute blade. So how does heaven respond to this? That's stage 4, the mirror of truth, forcing them to see the real cost of their ideas. The first radiance did not answer this unquiet assembly of doubting angels with a sword or a smiting bolt of lightning. It answered with a mirror of living light to show them the horrific reality of what their visions would actually cause. Let the starkness of this text really carry the weight here. Kalion looked into the mirror and saw that his noble desire to understand risk had simply turned into permission to abandon those he was supposed to guard. By giving them absolute freedom, he just abandoned travelers to predators who called that abandonment respect. Next, look at Miratha's horrific vision. She saw the end result of her painless mercy. By removing all painful memories from a city, she had created a people who smiled with perfect calm. Sure, but they couldn't longer forgive. They couldn't cherish anything anymore. Their peace was smooth as glass, but completely dead and freezing cold. In that moment, she realized her mercy was actually just a prison. And for Orion, the warrior who just wanted decisive action to end suffering, his mirror showed a battlefield won in a single hour, but the humans he saved were kneeling before him in absolute shaking terror. Orion learns the hard way that applying decisive action and overwhelming force without consent completely destroys the rescued soul's ability to ever become brave. Sure, he crushed their oppressors, but he had also completely crushed their right to rise up themselves. To counter these perfectly disguised demonic lies, the celestial hierarchy relies on stage 5, holy logic and harmony, where sincerity is only the beginning. Ancient celestial history deeply shaped this current defense mechanism. You see, the second vault opened the records of the very first beings who truly fell. And the shocking truth? Their early songs weren't full of hatred or rage at all. They were full of absolute beauty. They desired justice without delay, or love without vulnerability. The first fallen didn't choose a monster's face. They fell by crowning one good thing above all others. To prevent this from happening again, the hierarchy categorizes specific virtues as an intricate defense mechanism. You've got movement, order, courage, vigilance, responsibility, confession, and nearness. Why these specific ones? Well, because holy logic dictates that sincerity is only the bare beginning of discernment. You need all of these working together. Mercy without wisdom just becomes control. Freedom without truth just becomes aimless drift. These virtues have to harmonize so that no single desire becomes a prison. Think of this holy harmony, kind of like a gardener managing the wild growth of the living earth. The angel Raphael had to learn this. He realized that when a seed is planted in the soil, Yes, it descends into the dark, but it remains fundamentally faithful to life. It manages that wild, chaotic growth to serve renewal. Genuine descent, true empathy, isn't about worshiping the rot. It's about transformation that serves life. Falling, on the other hand, falling is descending by completely severing the meaning of descent altogether.
So, how do these angels actually survive this massive temptation? Through stage 6, the discipline of remaining, resisting the abyss. The hierarchy gave these unquiet angels 3 strict disciplines to resist the romance of the abyss. First, shared witness, meaning no angel keeps watch alone. This prevents a single virtue from isolating them in their own head. Second, descent without severance. They are allowed to move closer to human grief, but they absolutely must remain connected to the choir. And third, the study of small restorations, witnessing ordinary everyday recoveries, like an apology accepted or a field replanted. Because compassion cut away from communion becomes a wound that mistakes itself for a crown. But we have to conclude the narrative with a pretty chilling epilogue. Meet Ilarion of the Hidden Measure. While the others confessed their doubts and learned from the mirror, Ilarion just remained quiet. He fully believed he could design a better harmony through perfect calculation. He found a crown of invisible arithmetic. His private arrogance proved that order, uncorrected by love, has already fallen, even if it still looks like it's shining. He simply stepped away, genuinely believing he hadn't rejected order, but that he had improved it. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative thought from the first radiance. A fallen one is not born when an angel asks a dangerous question. A fallen one is born when the angel decides to answer alone. Let that sink in for a second. It forces us to question the hidden dangers of our own intellectual isolation. Are we taking our brightest, most noble ideas and secretly turning them into prisons? Thank you for exploring this fascinating text with me today. Keep asking those big questions for sure, but never, ever answer them entirely alone.